Why the Bill of Rights? Because it is the single most powerful and successful legal assertion of individual liberties and freedoms ever written. Why now? Because we need to restore common ground in America and the sense of mutual respect and shared purpose that this document represents in order to deal with the challenges that we are facing right now. We are at our best when we act as a community in this country. I started mybillofrights.org because I was so tired of the polarizing and divisive national conversation that had been going on for so many years, and I was looking for a symbol of common ground that really captured the spirit of America and what made us so great as a nation and so necessary in the world. And I came across the Bill of Rights and realized that there wasn't a single public display of it anywhere in the United States. And I thought, how can this be? This is the core of our common ground as a people. And not only that, this document, individual liberties and the principles within it, the most powerful statement of its kind ever written, an inspiration to the world for over 200 years, and yet we have forgotten it in our own land. So the idea came, we need to put this up in public display. These are powerful ideas. They need to be in front of the public. They need to be accessible to school children everywhere. MyBillOfRights.org has two initiatives. One is our Town Squares initiative, which is what we did in Montezuma, Iowa. And this is the idea that in small and medium-sized communities across the country, we find contact within the community and work through community organizations and look for a prominent public space, and at what's not really all that significant cost depending on the type of installation, we'll put up a 3 by 4 foot bronze, every single word of the Bill of Rights in a proper display with an area of contemplation around it. It can be as simple as something mounted in brick with some benches around it, and yet there it is, the Bill of Rights, one of our key documents. And then in addition to the Town Squares initiatives, we have our state capitals initiatives, which is to put up displays of the Bill of Rights on a grander scale on the grounds of state capitals all across the country. And in Texas right now, we have a tremendous opportunity. We finally received approval 2.5 years into this process to release and fundraise around a design that I believe will become a national destination display of the Bill of Rights on the plaza in front of the Texas State Supreme Court. It's a very appropriate location. It's directly adjacent to one of the most historic and beautiful state capitol grounds in the country, the Texas State Capitol. The actual design is dignified, elegant. It will create a formal entranceway to the court. Each amendment is freestanding within areas of contemplation and shade, and it's just a beautiful display. And people say, well, what's important about state capitals? Every school kid in a state winds up going to that state capitol on that field trip at some point. And I think they told me 60,000 children a year go to the Texas State Capitol. By putting it in these places of prominence in the individual states, we reach out to the next generation. And we're not putting cookie cutter designs because you can't do that on state capitol grounds. They all have different building restrictions. They all have different state materials and flora and fauna. So these will be, appropriately enough, individual site designs for this document that's about individual liberties. These things run in cycles. When the Bill of Rights was created, it was created to save the Constitution. Without the Bill of Rights, there's no United States of America. So it was the most important debate of its time. And over time, it expanded. The freedoms that were within it expanded from a very small part of the population to cover everybody. And after that, we sort of took it for granted. And it's been overlooked for a very long time in this country. When you hear Bill of Rights now, it's some guy getting on an airplane who wants his passenger Bill of Rights for when he gets stuck on the runway. People don't even get where it comes from. Well, the cycle has come, we've come full circle now. And here we are at a point where we're a little bit lost with huge challenges in front of us, and we're not sure who we are as a people anymore. That's why this document that got the country started, it's time to restore it. We're looking for renewal and rebirth and to replant the seeds of the nation's greatness. All of that is most simply and eloquently stated in the Bill of Rights. The discussions that go around this when I speak on it, when you go around and talk to communities about it, when people understand that it is about this shared purpose, this mutual respect, this spirit of solving the problem together, not for ourselves, but for the generations that come after us. And that's why I think at the beginning of the 21st century, we have a real opportunity to rediscover ourselves as a people through, among other things, elevating the Bill of Rights to the place of prominence it deserves in our public square. And I realize that you may know and understand the importance of this document, but millions and millions of Americans know very little about it. And that's why it is so important for us to reintroduce it into the public discussion and into the public square and into the public consciousness, because we are much stronger as a nation when we understand and are aware of our common ground as a people. What these displays and monument will represent is what we, at the beginning of the 21st century in America, felt was important enough to shine a light on for the generations that will follow. And that's why our fundraising philosophy is completely built around maximum individual contributions and grassroots fundraising. It's why we do not accept money from corporations. What we want people to be able to say as they gaze upon these displays and monuments is, our entire community put this up in the town square. We received contributions from across the state, from across the nation. Everything these days has a logo on it. Everything is owned by something other than by us. And the idea that you could do a project like a Bill of Rights Monuments project without the emphasis being on individual contributions just didn't make any sense. Even in our first display in Montezuma, Iowa, the woman who first approached me about it was ready to write an individual check to pay for the whole thing. And I told her, Hazel, that's really wonderful, but this is going to be the first in a nation. And it will be of much greater pride and meaning to this community if we invite the community in to participate. And so we held a fundraiser and we went to the community. And we got a huge response as a result. And when that monument was dedicated on the 5th of July as part of their 4th of July celebrations, it was the largest gathering they'd had in the history of that event. And I got chills. It was like a Frank Capra movie. When the flag went up the flagpole and the wind came from nowhere and snapped it out, and the Star-Spangled Banner and the tarp came down and the bells in the bell tower started ringing in the courthouse, not because we'd planned it, but because it was 11 o'clock. I thought, this is what happens when a community comes together. To me, that is really the story of America, is individuals freely choosing to come together to produce these kinds of results. I recognize that it's the most challenging economy of all of our lifetimes. And fundraising is never easy under even ideal circumstances. And of course, we've made our own road that much longer through our dedication to a philosophy of individual contributions. But that just makes your contribution more meaningful, regardless of the amount. What we're focused on at mybillofrights.org is getting the largest number of contributions from the greatest number of contributors, not the amount of the contributions. So if you share my passion for the importance of this document and for the way that it represents the true spirit and greatness of America, I hope you will consider contributing to mybillofrights.org. Thank you.